Hello. Welcome to Together Out Loud.
Another episode of
Oh, here
Together
comes this cat.
Out Loud while the cat gets in our way.
This is episode 14 for us.
I'm going to check the sound too.
All right, we're checking the sound.
Today's Bible verse.
Started checking the
Sorry,
sound.
we didn't want you to hear that.
It's okay.
We didn't want you to hear that.
Sound check.
It's okay. Can you hear us?
Yep.
Sound check. Can you hear us? Yep. All right, she'll start us out.
Okay, so we are Together Out Loud. We started a podcast. We go live on Saturdays, each Saturday on TikTok. We are on Spotify and YouTube. So if you ever come up as a guest, just know that we take the recordings and we post them on those platforms. And we also post clips throughout the week on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, Together_Out_Loud. Like, follow, and share. We are a married couple, been married over 10 years now, and we just talk about all kinds of stuff. We talk about relationships and parenting, but we also talk about current events as well. It's for everybody. Everybody is welcome. And we had last week, it was all about guests. So we pulled random guests up. We invited guests up. And so we want to thank everybody who joined us last week. And we want to do that every so often.
Yeah, we'll be doing that again.
So if you ever want to join us, you can join us and talk about anything you want. We want to have this be a positive platform. I know that's rare these days. So even though we may not agree, we want things to stay positive. And we're not professionals. We just talk based on our experience, and we talk about all kinds of things. And we also have an email address. What is the email address again?
TOLpodcast15.
TOLpodcast15@gmail.com. So if you ever, maybe you are shy, you don't want to come up, but you want us to talk about something that you're interested in, you can always email us too and suggest what to talk about. He has a tattoo. He had a tattoo stuck on him. Sorry. One of our cats had a tattoo stuck on him. So yeah, if you ever want to come up and talk about anything, just let us know. So last week, like I said, we had guests and we talked about all kinds of things, gas prices, which that actually started a conversation in the clip that we posted. We talked about just getting back to nature and staying positive, the weather, all kinds of random stuff. And then today we plan to talk about is society helping families or hurting them? So that's going to be interesting, and I'm sure it will cause some conversation as well. Jason's just writing down.
I write notes down throughout the week, and then I write my notes down on a piece of paper because I'm definitely a paper guy.
Yeah.
So that I have them like for future episodes or something to just bring up randomly to discuss.
Yeah. He's just deleting some of his stuff. Okay.
Oh, I said you could start us off.
Yeah. So is society helping families or hurting them? So we're gonna. The first topic is the cost of living, which is insane, and like I said, this will cause some discussion. We ourselves, me personally, I don't like to be affiliated with any one political party, and I'm sure he agrees too. The government as a whole is just not helping us. They're not representing us like they should be. And the cost of living, it shows. So whether you're left or right, it doesn't matter. It's been insane since 2020 at least. But I feel like it's always been that way. Each generation has their struggles. But it seems like we are really the first generation to need a 2-income family. I know it is possible for people to still have one income, but they would really struggle. Like we could probably be one income, but we would be able to struggle. we would be able to. We would definitely struggle.
What's on your mouth? Is that chocolate?
Yeah.
Wipe your face off. Hey.
We have a child in here.
He has chocolate on his
Oops,
mouth.
sorry. But yeah, we would definitely struggle. We wouldn't be able to have any extra money to do anything if we ended up being a one income family. And the way that I kind of gauge the cost of living is the cost of eggs, and that may sound silly, but I get a 30 count pack of eggs each week, and depending on the price of that, I know that it's bad. So
Yeah,
the price,
gas prices too are a good
oh
way to
my
gauge
gosh.
it.
Yeah. Well, I don't see, I work from home, so I don't really pay attention to the gas prices. So you would be one to definitely gauge that, which they like went up significantly
A lot, yeah.
this.
Yep, diesel now, and actually literally in our last podcast, in our last episode, I talked about how it was over $5. Now it's almost $6. It's $5.99, so we're a penny below $6 a gallon.
And like, I'm sorry, but like people are absolutely delusional or to think that this administration is doing what they promised. Like where, what? Name one thing. I want you to name one thing that they have done that they promised that they were going to do.
Yeah, it would be nice, like if we could get some people in here who voted for Trump just to see, which we're in
voted,
here and we voted for him. But I watched a video today. It was a guy and he was saying, what did you guys get that you asked for? And he just went through like a list of things
that we were promised.
And yeah, and I commented, of course, and I was like, none of that. But I also didn't like the comments because the comments are, as always, divided. We're not going to help anything, guys, just by being like, especially like, oh, well, they voted for this. They get what they voted for, and I'm not here to forgive them or help them. We need to come together because that's what they want you to do. They want you to be divided by party because then you're not actually pointing out who's actually at fault, which is the government. Like, we can't criticize and then vote for the same people and vote for the same thing that they're doing. That's the problem, is we continue to vote for this. And I know it's easier said than done because the difficulty in that lies in the fact that they lie. They all lie, so you never know. You never know, like, are they actually going to fulfill the promises that they make? Or, I don't know. To me, I have an optimistic outlook on what just happened, what just occurred, and what took place in that. Hopefully, because Donald Trump lied so much that hopefully people will be like, I'm hoping that his lying leads to a revelation of they're all liars.
Yeah.
Now, maybe not perhaps as much as he has lied, but it shows you how blatantly they can just say, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and not do a single one of those. So, and we've brought this up in other conversations, and we even have shorts discussing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, the things that he said that he wanted to get done, none of them got done. And even in one of the conversations, I mentioned that he's throwing us into more forever wars. And the very first comment was like, that's a Democratic talking point. Who cares what kind of talking point it is? It's a fact.
True, yeah.
It's true, and it's a fact. And we shouldn't be just going to war for Israel. Sorry, I don't think we could say war either. Blore.
Conflict.
Store. Conflict, thank you. Yeah, we shouldn't be going into conflict for Israel.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I agree. And some of the things that I cannot stand, can you shut that door, please? Sorry. Some of the things that I cannot stand is, the moment you go against the current administration, you're called a libtard and you're called a Democrat or crazy or whatever. It's like, wow, you guys are the exact same. The right and the left are exact same. Like,
people don't understand that you can be something different. They think you either have to be one or the other.
Yeah. And then another thing is, like, people will say, oh, well, it's better than Kamala, or would you have voted for Kamala? That would have been way worse.
No,
it's like,
we wouldn't have voted for her.
No, none of them. Ooh,
here we go.
Hate speech for what?
We're restricted.
Wow.
And we got restricted now. This is what we mean by freedom of speech.
There is no freedom of speech. And
There's no freedom
guess
of
who
speech.
owns TikTok now? Yeah, you can take a guess.
Israel.
Oh, that's hate speech.
Oh, that's hate speech. Forgot. Because hey, guess we can hate on Egypt though. I bet you we can hate on Egypt all we want, or the Netherlands.
This is so annoying.
I know.
I'm so annoyed.
I'm annoyed
but the
too.
reason why we do this on TikTok is because, for one, a couple hosts discussed the cost of living government.
In government role, that's AI.
Okay. So this is why I get frustrated because it's like we want it to be on. No, can you just please go? This is what I can't stand is that so TikTok allows us to be on here with few followers, but we're so restricted in what we can say, and that it's pointless.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb to even get on and do a live, even though they make money off of this. So they should be happy that we even have anybody that comes up and joins and stuff like that. So they should be pleased with it, but they're not. They just get mad and go, "You're talking about stuff that we don't like." And anytime you mention ISRAEL, I'll spell it out because if we mention the actual word, we'll get banned and shadow banned and censored. Anytime you mention them, it's a nightmare. So
is it because I said hate that I hate these things?
No, I don't know if it's that or not. I honestly, if I was to be honest, I think it's because I mentioned ISRAEL because we could talk about Germany and we could probably say anything mean we want about Germany and they'd just be like, yeah, that's fine. You can talk trash on Germany. We don't care about that one. But you cannot criticize the overlords. Sorry, we are just simple goy. We have no clue what we're doing. Sorry, Jewish overlords. Sorry. A million times over. We'll come out and do a public apology tour.
So what's that mean? Be restricted? It won't show up on.
It won't show up on certain people, and also that they won't allow a high amount of people to join in. That's what I think. I don't know. Who knows? It's they're the bosses. They're our kings. So, anyways, we'll go back to cost of living.
Oh, speaking of cost of living, is because our money is going towards them.
Yeah, going towards our kings. I mean, we got to pay our kings. So we're not complaining on here about paying our kings. I am very happy that I work so that our kings can take the money. Like, don't ban me, please. Please don't ban me. I need to provide for my wife and children as well. But I want to provide for you guys first, our kings. I want to provide for our kings first. So please promote the live, promote Together Out Loud, follow us on TikTok,
share, subscribe.
TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and Spotify, because the more people that like it, eventually we'll start making some money for our kings.
Yes.
And they can take all of it. Bow down to the kings. Anyways, continue. I interrupted you.
So I'm just so irked right now. I'm so irked. But anyway, I'm protecting my peace. Protect my peace. If you happen to if you happen to like us on Instagram, maybe we'd someday go live on there. And
yeah,
I think you can
maybe say a little more on that too.
Yeah, and I think you can invite people on Instagram as well. But I think you need 100 followers on that. So go ahead and like us on Instagram so we can not be
censored so much. Okay, but along with the cost
of living. So this is what. Sorry to interrupt you, but I am I get upset. How many hours did you work this last pay period?
For the total for 2 weeks is 144.
144 hours. Me in my mind, I wish that he didn't have to work those hours. I wish.
The nice thing is that's a Monday through Friday.
Yeah, it's Monday through Friday.
But that also shows you how many hours I'm working. If I'm working 144 in 10 days.
Yeah, and I just wish that he could work a 40-hour week. And us still be able to do what we do, but it's nice. He's making money. He's
I could, but we wouldn't have any spending money. So I do it. I make the sacrifice because I also want some money just in case something comes up. Like for instance, today we're gonna go to dinner at Hibachi.
Can you shut the door, please?
Please shut the door. And we're gonna go do dinner at Hibachi, and we wouldn't be able to do that if I was just doing 40 hours a week because we wouldn't have all my money would go to bills and we wouldn't have any kind of expendable cash kind of just laying around.
And what we our goal is to not be in debt at all, because that's a scam too. The credit system is a scam. Everything's a scam. And speaking of cost of living, I know I'm on a tangent today.
Put your tinfoil hats on.
Yeah, speaking of cost of living, we wanted to move down to South Carolina. We live up north. We wanted to move down to South Carolina, and The interest rates are insane. Our interest rate would have doubled if we sold our house and would have bought a house down there. On top of the cost of the house is almost doubled. Excuse me,
And
I'm going
thank
to shut
you.
this door because the
And
kids
thank
aren't
you for
listening.
everyone who's joining. And then also to go back to the cost of living, the more that we fund these conflicts with other countries, like, here's the thing. A lot of people are, I don't know if the majority of people just think that money grows on trees, or that, for instance, like the Wolf of Wall Street quote, it's Fugazi, Matthew McConaughey, that it's all just like pretend and make believe, which I'm sure to the rich it probably is. But to us, there's going to be consequences. If you're like low class, middle class, if you're like the pawns on the chessboard, you're going to pay the consequences of these forever conflicts where we're just peddling out billions of dollars, and because someone's got to pay it. It's not like, it's not imaginary. It's not like it just comes out of nowhere. It eventually comes out of the taxpayers' pockets. And especially like to run a campaign on the fact that you're going to decrease the debt, the nation's debt, and then you you increase it exponentially, and it's insane. Like, it's literally, it's just nuts. It's just billions of dollars, just like, here you go, here you go. I just read a thing today that they're sending like 10,000 more troops over there. Personally,
they increased the age limit for the army now
yep,
to
42, 43, 43.
42.
One of those.
So you just missed it, right?
Check it. Yeah, so I
so
just
you won't
missed
be
it.
drafted.
Yeah, I won't be drafted. But I wouldn't go over and fight anyway. I'm not fighting a war for another country. I used to, and listen, I'm not anti-war. Here's another thing. The minute you criticize ISRAEL, you're immediately an anti-Semite. And the minute you criticize conflict, you're immediately a Democrat or some leftist.
Yeah.
Like, no, we can have a conversation without it immediately being chalked up to hatred. That's the problem. Like, the minute you criticize, they're like, nope, that's also why we're getting banned here, and why we're getting censored and shadow banned, is because the minute we say one single thing, it's like, nope, hate speech, because that's what popped up. That's what we got flagged for, is nope, hate speech. Like, no, we're allowed to discuss these things, but everybody's okay with it. Everybody's okay with being censored and being like, well, I guess we just shouldn't criticize one particular country. Everyone else, that's fine. But there's one in particular that you can't criticize, so don't. So I guess
well, what I'm happy about though is people are waking up. So our generation and some Gen Zs, and I know Gen Alpha is still a little bit young, but I think they are waking up, and I think that's the reason why Charlie Kirk is no longer with us. That's
I agree.
My opinion, and things are coming out. And
the sad part is, I feel genuinely, the more you put these censors and stuff on people, at least intelligent people, the more people are going to start to wake up.
Yeah,
because people are suspicious to someone that they can't criticize. I am. Many people that I know are like, yeah, that's not right. Why are you the only one that we can't say anything bad about or criticize or call to judgment, I guess, so to speak. So, like I had a conversation with a guy about, I don't know if we can say this, NUKES. I had a conversation about that. And he said Iran was building those. And I was like, oh, okay. So no one's allowed to have them except that certain country that you're not allowed to criticize. Let's go back to that. It's whatever. But we're getting off of cost of living here.
Yeah,
but it is related to...
The moment they restricted us, I was like, Grr.
Yeah. She's angry now. I'm a little perturbed.
Like,
I'm a little perturbed. But it does deal with the cost of living because
our money's going overseas.
Yeah, and someone's gonna have to foot the bill. So I look at it like our kids or their kids are gonna have to pay the consequences of the things that are happening right now. And the worst part of it is they're consequences of things that we did not vote for. They're consequences of things that we were voting against. Because the funny part is, before all of this, everybody was against Biden and everybody was criticizing him. And then the minute Trump gets into office, now all of a sudden the Republicans are like, yeah, conflict. Yeah. Wait, what?
Yeah,
because you were just criticizing Biden for the same exact thing. Whatever.
And Obama too. Hypocrites. And then Trump tries to like gaslight us into thinking, And he says how great he's doing as a president. What? He just said that he wants to keep the housing prices high for
That's weird.
the people who are selling their houses. It's like, oh yeah, but nobody's ever gonna buy your house if it stays high like
Because interest
that.
rates are like
I mean,
10%,
that was the issue
50
with
years,
us.
50-year mortgages. Well, she mentioned the other day, why are gas prices high? Didn't we just acquire Venezuela? That's what he claimed.
Mm.
Like we have Venezuela's reserves in their oil. Like,
Hmm.
okay, so why is my company paying $6 a gallon? Anyways, that's so cost of living is terrible, and it's going to continue to get terrible. The dollar is going to continue to collapse. I know that some people are hopeful for cryptocurrency. I don't think that's going to work either, though.
The government is gonna find a way to get their beady little hands on that too. They've already started to do that. They want to restrict things. They're somehow gonna make that um part of the Federal Reserve. Like there's nothing like I'm sorry, but they will find any way to get their hands on stuff. Just like I just heard that the IRS, if you are having so many transactions in your bank account up to a certain amount of money, I forget what the amount is, it'll start flagging and they're gonna make your bank give them that information. So you're gonna get audited. Like you're disgusting. They want to get rid of the middle class, which I'm not understanding why they want to get rid of the middle class because they need the little minions to do the dirty work. Oh, and that's another thing about the boomer generation. Like people want to blame the boomers, which I do blame some of it on the boomers because anything that our current generation does affects the future generation. But I also,
Some people don't care about the future
yeah,
generation.
they
They don't
don't.
care. Like
No,
I'll be unalive by then.
yeah, but I also feel like you still have to be accountable for your own actions. So that doesn't give you an excuse to be like not be a hard worker to do what you should do. Like you got to do what you have to do with the control that you have. So we have crappy situations, but we are still responsible for figuring it out, at least trying to figure it out for the future generation. That's one of the things that we actually talked about last night. And this goes into two parents working full time. Like we have to work full time. Like I said, we could possibly be a one income family, but he would continue to work his insane hours, and then we would just have enough for us to survive. Which I mean, we could live within our means and just have that necessity, but we want to create memories for the kids more than material things. So that's why we like to have that little cushion. And like he said, if something breaks down, we just have to get a new water heater. And thankfully we had money saved up, and we love you too, Seth. And then
Yeah, I love you too, buddy. I typed it because I didn't want to interrupt you on the roll.
but we were just talking about last night how it should be more of extended family, should not just nuclear family. Heck, they don't even want the nuclear family anymore, but we kind of have a dream of a homestead with our adult children and their families
Yeah,
because that's
hopefully.
how it should be. And it's funny, I feel like the government wants to they want us to be all separate and stuff, but the circumstances are actually kind of forcing people to stay together. Like I'm sure adult children, I know people that I've graduated with that they stayed living with their parents for a few years after college because they just couldn't afford to be out on their own. And I think it's even worse for Gen Zs. So it's kind of doing the opposite effect of what they are anticipating or what their goal is, I think.
And I actually just wrote this down. I didn't want to interrupt you,
Thank you.
but because it's a really good question, and I'm posing it to you guys and for anybody who might listen to this after the live when we post it on Spotify or YouTube. How do we fix it? That's a good question, and I'm asking because I genuinely don't even know. So if anybody has ideas in the chat, or if you're listening to this after, feel free to comment and give your ideas because I don't know. Because I'm as optimistic as optimistic as I like to remain and try to be, I think we may be past voting ourselves out of it. We may already be at that 1984 deadline where I don't know if we can vote ourselves out
No,
of it.
because
Actually, I think we can't. I don't think we can, just because of the APAC. Sorry. I'm going to say that too. That might get us even more banned and censored. But you look at, just do yourselves a favor, guys, and research and see how many politicians are bought and paid for by APAC, because it's something that everybody should know. And here's a fact. This is a fact. When you fill a government with a bunch of people who are funded from another country, bad things are bound to happen. You're bound to have results that may benefit that other country more than it benefits your own country. So I don't really know. I have no answer. And that's why we're asking honestly and genuinely, so that maybe you guys can think about it and you guys can say, this is what I think should happen. But I don't know. I would hope that we could vote ourselves out of it. But I think another huge part of the problem, and this is maybe us taking some responsibility and accountability, is as a society, we need to stop voting for these people who are doing these things. Obviously, also, just because this came into my mind, trust the Lord, trust in Jesus, trust in the process. But Jesus wins can only go so far. We can only go so far with Jesus wins. You have to actually take action and do something about it as well. I just don't know what we do. I mean, I guess we could volunteer. Like, what I feel like should happen is we should get more people running who don't have a poli-sci degree. You shouldn't need degrees.
No.
Just give me an average random Joe.
Blue collar man.
Yeah, just a random dude. And like, I know people might be like, well, yeah, they don't know. I think here's another thing. I think it's designed, and I think it's going to get worse. It's kind of, for me, it's like law. I feel like the law is designed the way it is on purpose, and it's not good. You don't need words that mean other things. I think it's genuinely done because it's meant to confuse, if that makes sense to people. So law was done and made to confuse. Like, oh, because now you have to go and you have to hire this guy who knows the law and who knows all of these things. When if you just made the law easier to understand, which is very doable and easy to do, then everybody would understand it. But I think that's the problem, is the elites and the higher ups, and put on your tinfoil hats here. I think that they saw it and they were like, listen, there's a way around this to where we can make it so that they don't understand it that well. And then we can do whatever we want because we basically rule the roost. And I think that's what they're trying to do with politics too, so that they can sprinkle some breadcrumbs and then have people die hard and gung-ho about certain issues that at the end of the day kind of don't even matter anyway. Like, we'll get them arguing about simple things and then they won't pay attention to all of the lies we tell constantly.
And that's why I agree with you that voting is not going to work, because look, we voted for somebody 3 times thinking that he was going to make a difference, and because of the fact that he wasn't a politician. But that's a joke too, because he was, and we should have known, like, dude, I feel so duped, but you should have known, because he was in their circle. He was where everybody's circle for years and years, and then suddenly he acts like he cares about the working man. It's a joke. And that's why I miss Charlie Kirk, because he was a
honest,
self-educated man, and whether you agreed or disagreed with him, he got people talking, he got people discussing, he got people together. Even if you were debating and disagreeing, he got you together to really do critical thinking, and that is rare. It's becoming extinct.
More and more and more rare too.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people didn't like him because of that. There's the really big stance on if his 13-year-old daughter got pregnant, and I get that. But the number one thing that he said, and I don't care what anybody's argument is, the number one thing that nobody takes into consideration is the child should not pay or suffer for the father or mother's sins. And that's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's the reason he says the things that he says. Well said. That's the reason that he said that particularly, because I know that's one that everybody brings up. And every time I bring up Charlie Kirk, they'll be like, he wasn't smart. He felt like his 13-year-old daughter who gets pregnant from a product of grape should have to be forced to carry to term. And I'm like, yeah, because the child that is inside her did nothing wrong. So we can't claim that child should be punished while being innocent. If that's the case, everybody should be able to be punished. Just punish everyone, whoever you want. Just punish them for something their parents did, or Jeffrey Dahmer, for instance. Let's bring him up. His parents should have been locked up too. They raised him, right? So they're to blame too, right? But that's just an idea.
Well, and actually, that argument of Charlie's was actually what made me change my mind on the A word. I don't know if you can say it.
You can't.
So because I used to think that they should be rare circumstances like grape, and if the mother's
Extenuating.
extenuating circumstances. But when he said that, I was like, you know what, that makes perfect sense.
I used to think that too.
And
Incest and
yeah. So I don't know. It's just that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, but and that's, I mean, I think that's about it that we have to say about cost of living. As far as cost of living goes, yeah, like you can't fund forever conflicts. You can't. It's tough.
Yeah.
The tariff thing, maybe we could bring up that as well, because he mentioned that the tariffs, we wouldn't have to pay income taxes because the tariffs would pay for that. Now, I don't know how well the tariffs are doing or not. I don't know. I thought it was a good idea. I remember hearing about it, and I thought it was a good idea.
No tax on overtime, no tax on tips.
Yeah, we got shammed with that.
Because I was one of those.
Because I thought that it was like literally zero. Like you would get your overtime and you wouldn't get any tax at all. And I was like, this is great, which is a phenomenal idea, people. But it's not. It's some stupid tax cut at the end of the year. Like, oh, instead of making $110,000, you made $100,000 because 10,000 of it was in overtime. It's stupid. It was so dumb. Yeah, we got duped with that as well. But the problem is, and Mike Rowe, I just listened to the episode of Mike Rowe on with Theo, and he mentioned this because this plays into cost of living too. The prices of goods are rising more than the wages. Obviously, everybody knows this, but yeah, tips are cash and credit. Yeah, I don't think tips should have ever been taxed ever.
No.
But Mike Rowe was mentioning the problem also is you can't boost up minimum wage either because of the fact that then product prices go up. So like everything drives up together. But the sad part is that I don't know. There's really no answer. And I agree with you, Bad Gamer. I do think the companies need to pay up and pay us. But there's a problem in that too. That's because it's certain companies. So you can't throw a blanket. You can't throw like a blanket over that and just assume everything's the same. Because, for instance, in like the restaurant industry, they can't afford the big like changes. Like Nick Lachey was talking to a guest. I can't remember the guest's name that was on Theo, and they were trying to get into a restaurant business together. But the problem was restaurant businesses. This is what the guy explained to Nick Lachey. They make such a small profit margin. Like we're talking like 50 cents per transaction, like tiny. So the problem is, and it's sad, anytime if you have like a small mom and pop shop, anytime that something goes up, they need to pass that increase on to their customers. And this guy said how corporate restaurants, I agree with that. Yeah. But he said like little mom and pop shops, they have to, because if not, you go under, you know? And that's the problem though, is they're just crushing small business with the increases that they do. And I think that might even be designed and done on purpose. But thank you also for chiming in.
Yes,
so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
I'm lucky enough that and I'm not going to say where I work, but I'm lucky enough that I work a corporate job, a huge company, that this year, because our profits surpassed their goals, that we got bonuses that were higher. If you earned your bonus, it was a merit bonus, and we do get cost of living.
You could talk raises. About the taxes on that bonus too.
Yeah. So we get cost of living raises each year too, and part of it is based on merit, based on our work. But they actually doubled our raises, almost doubled our raise percentage because of the profit. And that, yeah, I mean, I got lucky that they do that. And it's nice that there are companies out there that do that. But it is unfortunate that a lot of corporate companies will just not care about the little people. Costco is actually, I think Costco is one where the CEO, he does not, I don't know how much he makes, but
250 some
so
thousand.
he gives
I read
back.
about that.
Yeah, so and actually that was one of a key.
It's ranked one of the best companies because of that, because he's generous, which, I mean, I wish every company would be generous, but it's tough. But I also don't see, here's the thing though, I don't judge the companies, the corporations and companies as much either, because I also take into consideration that this is why it's so difficult, and the conversation itself is difficult, is they also take the brunt of all the responsibility and the liability too. So like, if someone were to be sued, like if I do something wrong in a company, I don't have to worry about that because the owner is the one who's taking the brunt of that. So I mean, it's a difficult balance, and it's hard to find that balance. It's like a tug of war. But I do 100% agree that definitely some corporations need to pay out. But I also like that Mike Rowe spoke up about that. Like, you can't just run around and throw a law out there and say no, 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 everyone needs to be paid a minimum wage of $20 an hour, because then everybody's just driving their prices up, because some of them may have to, and some of them are greedy and are like, I just want to.
Well, and another thing is, I personally don't think, I don't like I don't know what the answer is because I'm like not economically educated, but I know the answer is not more government, not more government involvement in that. I think the more things that the government puts their hands in, the worse it gets.
And the reason, and I agree with you, but the reason that I don't judge them is I also take into consideration that they have to, they while they worry about profit, I don't. So this is an optimistic view on corporations and companies. And while they have to worry about profit, I was listening to a Jordan Peterson episode, and that's what made me start thinking this way, is they also have to consider that they're taking care of people as well. So for instance, I have a family. So my CEO, I don't think about this. Well, I didn't think about this until I listened to this episode of Jordan Peterson, and it kind of like opened my eyes to, if my company has 100 employees and one of those employees keeps ruining things and messing things up, and insurance is going up and everything's just being kind of destroyed by that one employee, while it sucks, that person, like that CEO, I wouldn't want this position. And that's the position of that CEO, has to get rid of that person. Even if that person has a family, that's sad to think about. But I like that I listened to this episode of Jordan Peterson, because it really did enlighten me to like the difficulty in making decisions like that. For instance, like saying, hey, I got to let you go. And while it might also benefit them as well, but you have to take into consideration, like, there are other people in this company that I also provide for that.
He loves your shirt, by the way.
Who's that?
Bad Gamer.
Oh, yeah, thank you. They're only noodles. Lost Boys, hell yeah.
I got that for him.
Truckers have risks. I'm a trucker, yep. Yeah, sorry. We're reading your comments as well, and thank you for chiming in so much. But yeah, that's where I kind of when I listen to that, that's where I have some sympathy for CEOs, because I wouldn't want to make that choice, because it's tough to look at someone and be like, I gotta let you go. I mean, I wouldn't want to, especially if I knew that they had a family. But in some companies, in cases, you have to do that, because, like, for instance, my company, I would want them to do that. And that's sad to say, because that's literally, so I almost have to admit that I want to see the demise of another person so that me and my family can survive. Well, you know what I mean? Because I am kind of admitting that, because I wouldn't want them to keep that person on, and then the company goes under, and then I'm now all 100 people are jobless. So you have to make tough choices too.
I agree with him. He said there are policies and procedures. If you don't adhere, your liability.
Yes.
And this is something that I struggle with, is nowadays it's very, very hard to fire somebody. I had been in a previous position, in a managerial position. I didn't have the capability of firing. I was like middle management, but I knew because I was like my boss's right hand woman that it takes a lot to fire somebody. Oh, I'm sorry.
With this, the phone's
Yeah,
really
I can't
the
see.
phone's
I
really
can't
small, so we can't see the can't see
see
the
the
what is that called,
icon.
avatar. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So yeah, I'm sorry about that. And also I'm blind too, so I can't see far away very well. But yeah, it's very hard to get people. It's very hard to fire somebody these days too, and that's a whole other
And make
liability.
sure you follow us because you're really good at conversation. And sometimes we'll have, not in this episode, but sometimes we'll have episodes where we bring people up. So make sure you follow us because I appreciate your input and your conversation.
Yeah,
And that
absolutely.
way, one of these times when we do that again, which we're going to start doing it more and more often as the channel grows, we're going to do that more and more often. We just don't do it a lot right now because we don't have much of a following. So once it gets bigger, then of course we're going to be bringing a lot of people up because this is what we were about. We just want it to be like
A
open
conversation,
dialogue,
yeah.
open conversation, and even when people disagree, this is what's going to help fix. This is what's going to help fix our country as opposed to just censorship and disagreeing with everything. You know,
Thank you for the
no matter
follow.
what.
Thank you for the follow, Bad Gamer.
Yes, thank you. But we will move on to two parents working full time as well. So we just have different little things that we
Bullet
go over.
points,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Bullet points that we go over inside the category that we're talking about. But yeah, we appreciate it, and I'm happy that you brought up all those things too because those are all things that I've thought about often, and it really is difficult. Like because even leaning Republican, I remember it was a while ago, but Eric Swalwell, I remember agreeing with him in the debates, and everybody was like, "Oh, Eric Swalwell," because he's a Democrat. But I was like, I kind of was with him in and I can't remember the other guy's name, but they were talking about the dangers of AI and how technology and stuff is going to start taking over all of these things, and that's scary too
Mm-hmm.
because I don't as a community and as a society, we need to all be looking out for each other. Like so, that's a sad part of it too. Is like sometimes it's more like I stated in the company dilemma that I gave. Sometimes it's more like, well, as long as it doesn't happen to me, I'm okay. And I think we need to get out of that as well. We need to get into like, well, if this is going to happen, what's something we can provide for society and the community that will help that these other people that are going to lose these jobs. So it's scary.
Yeah,
I know
it's
it's
scary.
happening a lot in like fast food and the food industry because now they're doing like even sometimes at restaurants they'll just have like a tablet that you order from instead of
Yeah,
like a
don't ever
server or
hear.
something.
I
Yeah.
mean, trust me, as an introvert, there are some days where I'm like, cool, I don't have to talk to anybody.
Don't have to have a
But
conversation with
I
anyone.
know that in the long run, that's not. And especially, I feel like they want us to stay divided, and which is why they want to trigger rage and things like that. But speaking of AI and stuff, one of my ex sister in law, she sent me videos of Melania. Is that how you say her name?
Yeah,
Melania Trump
Melania.
with a robot and saying like, "Oh, can you imagine this robot teaching your children? They would never get stressed out or frustrated with your kids." Like, no, 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 no. It's bad enough. The public school system is bad enough. They're like, I don't want a robot to teach my child. And also, the whole public school system is a scam too because they're there for 6 to 8 hours a day. Where when I've researched homeschooling based on the age group, um, the most sorry, yeah, I do
No,
researching.
no, you're
This
good.
is
You're
my
good.
other tangent. Based on their age group, the most
I
amount of
love the way you think,
time,
so I'm okay with it.
the most amount of time that you need to take is 2 to 3 hours at the most each day. And I just love the idea of hands-on things and doing little field trips and teaching kids that way. I know some of the positives about technology, but in reality is just dumbing down our kids and making them less emotionally intelligent.
Yes. And but that'll bring us into two parents working full time. We both obviously work full time. The nice we do have the benefit of she works from home, but I work a bunch of hours, and I think a lot of that was designed as well. I think it's designed so that to keep us away.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're close together in your family unit in the nuclear family, your kids are also going to learn that from you as well. Whereas I feel like, I think we mentioned this in a previous episode, if they can get you focused and devoted to just work, 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 provide, 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 work,
Mm-hmm.
work, then you're going to do that. Your kids are going to do that. Your kids are going to do that, and so
Mm-hmm.
on and so forth down the line. But I think that we could kind of help that a little bit with what you've mentioned before, and that is knowing your limits and
Living within your
living
means.
within your means, because we don't need everything. Like it's tough. It's tough because we live in this society that's so consume, like with consumerism. But I think we could help that by, like you said, living within your means. And if we lived within our means, it would also give us more resources to provide for others as well. Because I think we should help each other.
I agree with you. I agree with that. And also I enjoy my job, and I've said this before. I found a place where I can work from home, which is the perfect balance. I'm here for my kids when they get off school. I get to take them to the bus stop. So it is a perfect balance, and it's definitely perfect for me. Like I said, I'm an introvert. And I'm doing something that I enjoy, which I know I'm making a positive impact on other people, whether it's my coworkers, because I'm kind of like an assistant in a way, and with the people that we serve. So I love that. But nothing gives me more joy than doing things for my family, cooking dinner, making a homemade bread, peanut butter, stuff like that. Like finding something to challenge me and completing that goal and being successful, that brings me the most joy. And the reason why we, like I said, we could be one income, but we would struggle a lot. But the reason why I kind of see a positive in how much we work is that we get to randomly go on day trips or plan something that
Yeah.
our parents were never got to do. So we are creating memories. I much rather spend money on memories like that. We book a vacation to the beach each year, and I much rather have the money and spend money on those things than just things, because at the end of the day, it's the memories. And another thing, I wish we could make enough where we can get our time back. Like
Yeah,
that's
I agree.
that's me personally. I think that's what defines being rich and wealthy, is having the money to have more time back, and that's
Yeah,
why
have
I
time with family
wish
and stuff
that
like that.
he could get that, and I hope that someday he can.
But I'm okay with my job as
Yeah, he
well.
likes it. Like that's the thing too. Like he enjoys his job. He enjoys
And
what he
and
does.
in work, just as a side note, find something about your job that gives you pride and that you're helping others. And the reason I mention this is because I never did that. So a lot of jobs I remember growing up, a lot of jobs I hated. I really disliked my jobs, and I think it's because I didn't I didn't think I was serving. I didn't really think I was serving a purpose or serving anybody. So for everyone who's watching and listening, find something in your job. Just pinpoint one single thing that can make you go like, oh, okay, yeah, I am kind of contributing. Like my job, for instance, I transport feed to hogs. And I'm like, oh yeah, that definitely contributes to society, because then the hogs eat it and the hogs are butchered and then people eat the hogs. So that's definitely beneficial to society. And another thing that I think that everybody should really try to do, if you're out and about today, try to do this. Just be thankful,
Mm-hmm.
be grateful. If you go to a fast food restaurant and you go inside, don't just go through the drive-through, go inside, get your food, and just literally be like, hey, thank you. Hold up. I want you guys all to know that I'm thankful and grateful that you made this. Because listen, you can change somebody's life and make
Yes.
somebody's day just over something simple like that. Especially, and the reason I bring up like fast food or something is because I remember like working at like McDonald's or Burger King or something like that, those were always the worst for me because I always felt like, man, I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting here flipping burgers or like taking an order on a thing. But I think that's why is I think because it's a thankless job. Many jobs are thankless, but you're focusing on that. So many times in my younger years, I just felt worthless and maybe that even fed into my nihilism and stuff a little bit. And my worthlessness is because like I'm like, oh, look at me, a monkey could do this, a monkey could flip a burger, you train them well enough. So just you never know how you're going to affect someone, and we're always trying to spread positivity. So get out there and spread some positivity today and say thank you.
Yeah, and
Be
two
grateful.
things I want to add on top of that. There have been times when you have improved so much where if something would go wrong in the work day, it would just like consume him, and I would remind him like this is just a job. It's not your life. It's just a job. It's not your life. And I know, unfortunately,
It's a means to an end.
yes, in this economy, it's hard to have that mindset because we're stressed out. Some people have to pick and choose what bills to pay or to not get so much at the grocery store, whatever the case may be. I know it's a struggle, but and this goes back to trusting in the Lord too. But just remind yourself, it's just a job. It's not your life. Because I based my worth on my work for the longest time until I had a family. And then once I had a family, I'm like, and this has been said all throughout, if something were to happen to you today, your job could replace you just like that tomorrow. Whereas your family, it would be a long lasting negative effect. So that's the first thing. The second thing that we've started doing just very recently is at the end of the day, we ask the kids what's one thing that they are proud of that they did. And we ask each other too, because I read that will start to give them a positive self image. And I think you laugh at me because I couldn't say
Yeah, that's okay.
I think like us doing that too is starting to retrain our brains, because growing up I didn't have anybody really talking to me that much. So it's really nice and that goes along with being grateful, practicing gratitude, being positive. You're retraining your brain to have more automatic positive thoughts rather than negative thoughts, negative tapes going on in your head.
And that'll kind of bring us into childcare struggles. And we don't really have that anymore, thankfully. But unfortunately, we also kind of, and many families across the country, maybe even across the world, we're kind of forced into just relying on public education, unless we want to spend that extra money to go private and stuff like that. These are all tough topics today, but because we don't have daycare, but if you do have daycare and if you're watching this, you know that it's insane. It is insane. It's expensive. It's nuts. I remember, who was it? Step that helped out a little bit, early on.
Those are the governmental programs that I can agree on, especially.
Well, I think Step isn't state funded though, right? They're kind of like they're independent, I believe.
I can't recall.
I'm not 100%, but I think that's where I think we should be donating money into like independent companies like that kind of help out, because in my opinion, they seem to do it better than the state does. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, I would be all for like a slight increased tax if it meant that even with us without babies, if it meant that a mother can put her kids into childcare for cheaper or free, I would be 100% for that, because one, I love kids, and two, I think it's just a great virtuous thing to do.
Yeah, and as a society where it's now more common that you have to have a two-income family, if we would have been paying full price at the time that our babies were in daycare, my entire salary would have went
that's the sad part of it.
At my previous job, it would have went to daycare, so it would have been pointless.
She actually would have been negative, right?
Yeah, negative.
Like it would have her entire check would go, and then part of mine as well.
Yeah, so and
we got fortunate. We were fortunate,
right.
Very fortunate and grateful that we were able to get assistance and get help for that.
And I think corporations.
But that's really sad. Two jobs, people? Two people working a job, and you can't even afford just the monthly
childcare,
childcare,
which and
which I think
the
was more than rent at that time when we were
it
renting.
was it
It
was
was
like
more than
all
our
it
rent.
was more than double our rent. Um, so my thing is, I think companies, if you are like a corporation that is able to afford it, I know small businesses may not, but I think it would be great if you had a daycare department so you can bring your kid to your
Work.
work and drop them off at the daycare. We talked about that in my old job. That's something that I think should happen. Maybe there should be, I know that there are childcare credits and there are um what's the other credit that you can get based on your income in taxes? But I think that you should get some kind of stipend back somehow, similar to what you said. It like you'd be okay with paying a little bit more taxes if it meant it would go to daycare. But yeah, I think it should be some kind, like if you want the women to work, then you should be helping out in the child care department. But then again, I feel like it's just a ploy too, that they don't want to promote families. They want women to choose work over having a family and being a mother. In my opinion, that's an opinion. It's not a fact.
But that will bring us into probably our closing, which is why families feel stretched thin.
Yeah.
And exactly everything we spoke about in here is why families feel stretched thin, because we're being pressured and coaxed and pressured into
Keeping up with the
keeping up with
Joneses.
the Joneses, maybe thinking that there are things that are more important that aren't as important as they are. Over exaggerated importance in things like material possessions,
Mm-hmm.
status when it comes to like neighbors and stuff like that. And also like that's another area where we should be focused on lifting each other up instead of, I mean, I it's that's the sad part is like, so like I noticed that in this area is like some people just think they're better than you. They really do. And unfortunately in like society, because people are keeping up with the Joneses, we're more taught to just be like, no, 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 you need to be better than those people. Like, why can't we lift those people up so they can be equal with us and they can be doing great as well? And that kind of goes back into what I said earlier in this episode is if we're living within our means, we'll have the resources to help these other people who may be struggling. And not in just like a, oh, I'm so good and holy and pure, look at me
Right.
way, but in a way that genuinely shows that you care about people. Actually, I was just talking to my buddy Seth about this yesterday, and I was really happy that he and I were talking about this. I love talking to Seth, and we talked for like over an hour. But I was happy and grateful that he was like saying the things that I've done for them and that we've done for them and their family, and he was just very thankful and very grateful. And he also doesn't recognize like I'm grateful for you too, like for just the conversation and just having an open ear to listen to, because there's many ways you can help people. It's
Yeah.
not just monetary.
Right.
It's volunteering your time. You can go and volunteer your time, and also you can just volunteer an ear, even if you can't be there in person. You can be there just to listen or FaceTime or whatever you're doing, and that helps a lot because it helps. I think I've mentioned this in an episode before, but like gathering your thoughts and getting them out and having someone else take those thoughts in, it's the beauty of a conversation. I've talked about that in a different episode, and having someone else take those thoughts in and then analyze your thoughts and then give back to you kind of what they think of your own very own thoughts, as confusing as that sounds, um, is therapeutic and helpful. It's beautiful. I love it. It's one of the it's as much as I like grew up not really having a lot of conversations with my parents and my family, my siblings. I love having conversations now, and maybe part of that is because I wasn't really taught to have conversations or how to have a conversation. So now I value it so much. I value that friendship and that conversation with people around me, and it helps so much.
I think especially for men, I think that's beneficial because of the way that it used to be that men were conditioned to like keep it inside and to suck it up, buttercup, and be tough. And
Yeah, and this is a tangent. He and I spoke about this too, speaking about men like being taught to keep it inside. Because he and I spoke about this as well. I also don't think, I don't know why this came to my mind, but I also don't think some people are under the some weird impression, like especially people that I speak to, that like Christians think women should just shut up and like don't say anything. And I was so happy that Seth agreed with me on this. I was like, no. I just think we have different strengths. But like one
yeah,
of my favorite things is, and I mentioned this to him, one of my favorite things is I can go to her, and if I'm struggling with something in my life or struggling with an answer, I can go to her, I can go to Seth, and they'll help me kind of manage in my own brain like what to do with the situations. And it's not always, while I think the man should lead, she thinks that as well. It's not, I don't think that I should lead no matter what. Like if I'm losing my way, I should have somebody that I can come to let them know, like, hey, things aren't going real well for me. And I've, especially like with some of the thoughts I've had, I have some dark thoughts and I don't know what to do about these. And I like that I can talk to her about it. I can talk to Seth about it, and we can come to like a conclusion together because it helps. And that's like, who's the rapper?
McDonald.
Tom McDonald. Thank you. He actually says in one of his songs that our differences are why we're great together. I love that. I love that line. Our differences are why we're great together. I know I went off on a tangent.
No, that's okay. Maybe that is something that you should think about regarding like how they want to divide us politically too. I mean, there are bad things about both sides. There are good things about both sides, and uh, people just want to focus on the bad.
Yeah, and I'm hoping maybe also this came into my mind. Jesus, praise Jesus, because someone who is listening right now, watching right now, or someone who's going to listen or watch later, this will have an influence on them. And we're always here, like we said. Feel free to DM us. Feel free to like and share and follow and all of that. And also feel free to email us at tolpodcast15@gmail.com, because that's one of the main reasons we started doing this, is to have open conversations. And so that, because there's a lot of lonely people and alone people in the world that need stuff like this. And the sad part is the more technology continues, I think that is going to, that is going to correlate with the amount of people that are lonely and alone and don't have anybody. And as much as we love this and we love technology, there's nothing better than getting together in person. Obviously is the number one thing you could do. But the number two is just to make sure that you are open to, talking to people FaceTime, over the phone, and especially like when someone needs help. But sorry, I went off on a tangent there. Okay. That's to try to help people, and that's because I've struggled with like bad thoughts, negative thoughts. So if you're listening to this or watching this and you struggle with negative or bad thoughts, reach out to someone, reach out to us. I'm willing to talk with anybody about anything.
And I just wanted to say thank you to the comments today. That was very engaging, more engaging than previous.
Yeah, so, really appreciate it. Bad Gamer, we shout out to you. We appreciate you just posting and commenting. And sorry, that was my timer going off. But engaging engaging in the conversation, we really appreciate it, because that's what we're trying to do here. That's one of the things that is important to us.
Did I not make it?
It's sorry, the puzzle thing.
I have to verify that it's me.
But that's one of the things that's important to us, is like trying to help others, and even if it's just in conversation. I kind of went off on a tangent away from why families feel stretched thin, but
yeah, that was basically, I mean, that wrapped it up. We basically talked about the struggles and why families feel stretched thin, but I don't have anything else to say.
No, she doesn't have anything else to say about it. I have a little bit more to add to it, and that is just, like we said before, it's the feeling of being stretched thin is because of the fact that we don't have the traditional household where mom's staying home with the kids, dad's going out and working hard. And we've discussed this before, that we think that was done on purpose. More people working, more taxes. Seth and I talked about this. I think that families were supposed to stay close knitted and closer together. But nope, that now they want your kids should get out. They should get their own land and their own houses because that's more taxes, more taxes, more taxes. Well, a lot of things lead to taxes.
Yeah, but that's why I think it's gonna kind of backfire on them because people aren't going to be able to afford to move out, and people aren't going to be able to afford their own land and their own.
Yeah, now everybody's just going to live with their parents till they're in their forever.
Which I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too. We love our kids enough that we
would be okay with that.
We would be okay with that. We kind of want it secretly. Yes. Secretly, wink, wink. For when our kids watch this when they're older, because I'm sure they will. They'll be like, "Oh, let me go watch Mom and Dad," because so if we're gone, this is kind of cool too. They'll always have memories of us. Like they'll always be able to be like, "I want to go see Mom and Dad." Boom, and there it is, and they'll get to be like, "Man, our parents had terrible ideas." No. I'm just kidding. But we're gonna discuss what we're gonna go over in the next episode. Thank you everyone for joining. Go ahead.
Episode 15 is gonna be.
Oh yeah. So I don't even know why I'm looking at this. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. So the next episode, which I think is going to be a fantastic one, so make sure you tune in. I'm going to be interviewing her. So she interviewed me about a situation in my life that was detrimental. It was insane. It was just a nuts situation. If you haven't watched or listened to it, episode 10, go and watch that or listen to it. It's a good one.
On YouTube and Spotify.
On YouTube and Spotify, you can watch or listen to that. But that was a good one. It was about a very crazy situation in my life that you'll enjoy. But I was partially to blame for that as well, partially responsible. I took my accountability for that. But so for the next episode, I'm going to get to interview her. It's not going to be on anything crazy that happened in her life, though, because she didn't really have anything crazy. But there are things. I wrote it down. Where did I write it down at? Right here. Here we go. Basically, I'm going to talk to her about fully being herself and just being very laid back with, not insultingly, a low drive. She just doesn't have a real big drive to be like, I want to be the best woman that ever lived. Yeah, but I like that. I admire that. And I think it's kind of cool that like she's easily pleased and she can very easily just be like, I am happy just having my kids and cooking and very simple, like a simple life. And I love that about her. She easily accepts life. I even wrote that down. And I love that because I'm different. Like I'm like, get out there, take over the world, conquer everything, crush mad puh. Get trim all day, nail everything, divide and conquer. But I'm not really fully like that, but I am very ambitious. And so I'm interested in seeing.
Yeah, because it like blows his mind.
It blows my mind because I can't work like that. So it'll be an interesting conversation. It'll be an interesting interview because I will get to kind of pick apart your brain a little bit, and I will have fun doing that. Not in a bad way, obviously, but because I love your brain. But in the way that you think, it impresses me. Because my brain doesn't think that way. My brain is more like, you're a loser and you suck and you're the worst because you're not doing right. So, and she's very positive, very optimistic, and very good at like turning myself around. But also she's really good. You're really good at, I'm going to write this down too, because you're really good at research. I'm going to write that down too. Really good at research. Sorry, guys. I'm writing down more notes, but because you really are actually, and I thought this episode made me think about that because you were talking about stuff and how you like get into things. And I love that about you. Like she'll find like one thing and she'll pinpoint it. And I get sidetracked really easily, a squirrel. But she's really good at like, she can just like, what's the word I'm looking for? Focus in. She can really focus in and dive right into one strategic matter and be like, that's what I want to focus on, and just find all kinds of stuff about it. It's amazing. It amazes me. But thank you everyone for joining. We appreciate you guys and we love you guys. And we are grateful for everyone who joins, engages, follows, likes, shares, everyone. We appreciate it, even when you disagree.
And even if you stop for just like 30 seconds to check out what we're talking about.
Yeah. Even if you just hop in like, oh, what are these guys doing?
Who are these
fools? Who are these old heads?
Well, we hope you
have as always, sorry, go ahead.
Jesus loves you. And so